Good morning and welcome back to the Faith and Formation Podcast. It is Tuesday, October 21st. Getting close to the end of October. November's going to hit here soon. All the fall stuff is out, and my wife's just way into all the pumpkin spice and everything. I'm not a big pumpkin fan myself, to be honest. Let me know. Let me know in the comments if you are a pumpkin spice fan, if you like the fall drinks and all of that. To be honest, I'm not real big into all the apple cider and the pumpkin stuff and I don't even know what all stuff they add into the drinks these days at, Starbucks and Dunkin' and all the local coffee places. It seems like it's more and more spice every single year. I'm not big into that, but hey, let me know in the comments below. Let's see a little action there in the comments section. Whether you like it, you don't really like it. But it'd be great to see some comments, know that you guys are listening in and hearing this. But, it's not me. I'm not really into all that stuff. I like, black coffee and just some iced sweet tea. That's about as far as I go with the coffee and tea. But let me know. Maybe you're someone who's just all into the fall stuff and you love this time of year. That's great. That's great. I'm very happy for you. But either way, thanks for jumping in here this morning and being part of the Faith and Formation Podcast on this Tuesday. We are in 1 Kings chapter 3. And 1 Kings chapter 3, our devotional here this morning, is titled A Wise Wish. A Wise Wish. And our topic verse there is verse 9 of 1 Kings chapter 3. We'll get to that in a moment. Before we do that, let's take a look at our memory verse, for the week, a memory verse for the week, which says, "Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall." We see that there in Proverbs chapter 16, verse 18. A great reminder, something to keep in mind as you go throughout this week. Okay, a wise wish, 1 Kings 3 and verse 9. I'll go ahead and read the verse, and then we will try and hopefully grab some application from it. Verse 9 says, "Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people?" This, of course, is Solomon talking here in 1 Kings 3 and verse 9. But before we dive right into this, I have a question, a scenario, really, that I would love for you guys to put yourself in and really honestly think about what you would do in this scenario. And here's the scenario. You're wherever you want to be, right? You're at home, you're at work, you're out on a walk, whatever it is, and a genie pops out of something. A lamp, a bush, a desk, a drawer, I don't know. Whatever it is, genie pops out and gives you one single wish. Just one wish. Why don't you guys take a second here, think about what is it that you would ask for. One single wish, not three. You only got one. What would you wish for? And I know some of you teenagers are going to try to break the rules with all the other wishes and everything. No. Just take it seriously just for a second. Answer the question. What do you honestly think to yourself would be the one thing that you would ask for? Maybe some people would ask for money. I think that would probably be most people, right? Ask for money. Fame or popularity. Some kind of power, being able to run a big business or a country or something, some power. Maybe there's a relationship that they wish they had that they didn't have. Some people would wish to be in a relationship with somebody. There's a lot of different wishes out there, right? What would be yours? What would be your wish? Take a second there and think about that. Well, here in this passage, we have a scenario that's kind of like this, actually, kind of like this. If you look back earlier in the chapter there in 1 Kings chapter 3, you see that God actually gives him essentially a wish. If you look in verse 5, it says, "In Gibeon the Lord appeared to Solomon in a dream by night, and God said, 'Ask what I shall give thee.'" Literally, what do you want? And then Solomon answers, and we see a great answer from Solomon, a great answer, and one that I think we can really learn a lot from. Solomon here says in verse 6, he says that God had showed mercy to David as he walked in truth and righteousness, and he showed great kindness to David and to him. And then verse 7. I'm going to read a couple of verses here. Hopefully that will help us out. And now, this is again is Solomon talking. O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in. I see humility there. I am but a little child. Humility. He says, I don't know everything. I know not how to go out or to come in. And thy servant is in the midst of thy people, which thou hast chosen, a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. And then here's his wish. He sort of sets up some context there, and then here's his wish in verse 9. Listen to this. Give therefore thy servant an understanding heart to judge thy people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge this thy so great a people? He asks for wisdom. All of that phrasing can be summed up in one word, wisdom. He wants to be able to understand, to know how to judge the people. Wisdom. Being able to understand their problems, their faults, whatever it is that they're bringing up. Being able to make good, righteous judgments. And then if you continue on, you see in verse 10, and this speech pleased the Lord that Solomon had asked this thing. And God said unto him, because thou hast asked this thing, and hast not asked for thyself long life, neither hast asked riches for thyself, nor hast asked the life of thy enemies, but hast asked for thyself understanding to discern judgment. So he said, you didn't ask for riches, for long life, for fame, power, any of those other things. You asked for wisdom. Behold, verse 12, I have done according to thy words. Lo, I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart. So God grants his wish. He gives it to him. And of course, now we know Solomon as the wisest man that ever lived, ever walked on this earth. I have given thee a wise and an understanding heart, so that there was none like thee before thee, neither after thee shall any arise like unto thee. So you see there, God gave him that wisdom and made him the wisest man on the earth. Again, like we said, that's what we know of him now as well. And then verse 13, and I have also given thee that which thou hast not asked, both riches and honor. So there shall not be any among the kings like unto thee all thy days. Interesting how God responds to this. Solomon, in humility, says, I'm like a child. I think that's very important. He approaches God with humility in this request. And he says, I don't know anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I need your help. Man, what a heart to approach God with. To say, Lord, I don't know how to run my life properly. I don't know how to make the right decisions. I don't know how to help people like I should. That's exactly how Solomon approaches the Lord. He says, God, I need your wisdom. And God gives it to him. Listen, if there's one thing you could wish for, if God gave you this wish like he did to Solomon, ask for wisdom. Ask for the knowledge and the wisdom that you need to go through your life making the right decisions. Your life is going to be made up of many, 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 many decisions. Tens and hundreds of thousands of decisions that you're going to make in your lifetime. How are you going to make sure that you're making the right ones, especially when it comes to the bigger decisions? How are you going to know? Well, in short, you need God to help. And so in your requests, in your prayer time, say, God, give me wisdom. I need your wisdom. That's what God wants to hear from you, just like he wanted to hear that from Solomon. He said he was pleased at Solomon because of the request that he gave. And if you give the same request, God will be pleased with you. And then here we see that God blessed Solomon with all the other things that he didn't ask for. He blessed him with riches and with a long life and relationship and all these things. He blessed them with all of that because he asked for wisdom. So when you go to the Lord, when you have trouble with a decision, hey, go to God and ask him for wisdom. In your prayer times, ask God for the wisdom and the understanding you need to make the right decisions. If he liked Solomon's wish back then for wisdom, he's going to like yours now, today. He's the same God. He'll be pleased with your request for wisdom just like he was with Solomon. You're not going to be able to stay on track on your own. You're not going to be able to make 100% all of the right decisions on your own. You need God for that. I need God for that. So as you approach God today and really every day going forward, take a little time to pray for wisdom and approach God with a humble spirit, understanding that, hey, I don't know everything. I don't know everything that I need to know. I need God's help. That's exactly what Solomon did here, and God blessed him with that wisdom and so much more. And he can do the same for you if you'll pray sincerely and ask for that wisdom. So today, ask for God's wisdom. All right. Well, that was our devotion here from 1 Kings chapter 3. Hopefully that was a blessing to you. As you go to prayer, when you pray for that wisdom, also pray for your missionaries today, those that you think about, that you know about from the missions cards or however you're going to pray for them. Pray for the missionaries. They have a lot on their plate, trying to reach people for Christ, trying to start churches, train national pastors, learn languages, whatever it is. They have a lot going on. Pray for those missionaries that you know about that are in the church, that God could be right there with them, encouraging them, helping them along the way as they try to share Christ with many, many people. And then for our teenagers, we want to lift up Melody, especially in prayer this morning. All right. Well, thanks again for joining us here in the Faith and Formation podcast, looking at 1 Kings chapter 3. Hopefully that was a blessing to you. Thanks for joining us here this morning, and we'll see you next time.